Welcome back, guys. All right, so we have the frame is back from the puller. Shout out to A1 Frame Repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. A1 Frame Repair. Delbert really hooked me up on this one. So you can see that side. This was the side that was bent in, like the car got kind of mildly T-boned, if you will. So that one's straight. Matches this side now. And he was also able to pull out the back. I don't know if you guys remember, but the back was pretty gnarly too. I think I'm still going to replace this. I've already got a replacement. It's here in the office. So I'm just going to have to, I think, just, you know, right along here and on the bottom there. Should just be some fairly simple cuts and weld the new one in, but this is more of what I'm concerned about right here. You can kind of see the cancer in there. And I'm hoping, you know, once I get this kind of pulled off, or I mean cleaned off, I can see maybe just a patch, you know, from here to here, something like that, and then the same on the bottom. But that spot there is also troubling. So it's going to be some, I don't know if I'd call it complex. It's going to be complex for me, but maybe not complex for the average frame repair guy, to try and weld in some new stuff. And then on the bottom here, I don't know how well you guys can see this. There's some issues under there. So I think I'm either gonna have to stand the frame up or flip it over and then just make a big plate to go under here. But the frame guy said the, you know, this side wasn't too bad, but he said it was, he called it diamond warp or something like that. I don't remember his exact terminology, but so one side of the frame was like, this side of the frame here was farther forward than this side, like it was kind of tweaked, if that makes sense. So he fixed that as well. And I think the shock towers and stuff are level now, so everything should be good to go with the frame. And you know, I looked at a new frame, but man, those things are, for a custom one, you're looking at 10 grand minimum. And then it's like, I just can't find a good donor, you know, or even a little, just a basic repop. I think they just don't make them, I guess. So I think I'm gonna have to stick with what I got. So the plan for today is to get the suspension off. I've already been working with it a little bit. I just keep spraying it with a PB Blaster, all my little nuts and bolts that I'm gonna need to get out of here. You can kind of see where it's just wet all over, where I've just been hitting it over the past few days. But yeah, that's the deal for right now. I'm gonna get all this stuff busted off, pull all the suspension off, then I should just be left with the bare frame that I can hit, you know, sandblast or wire wheel, whichever works better, we'll see. But yeah, let's get the suspension off and I'm gonna get moving. Okay, so we got the rear suspension taken out, and that was really simple. Just these main mounting points here, and then a couple of the little clips for these, and that was it. But this whole unit basically is going to get replaced with new stuff. I mean, the new rear end, control arms, springs, shocks, everything's going to get redone. So I'm not too concerned about that. But the shocks here, as I mentioned before, I kind of went through and tried to loosen up a lot of the stuff so I can just hit it. That's why you see me using the impact on that stuff, is because I've already loosened, kind of pre-loosened the stuff. Otherwise, I'd be a little nervous about breaking it. I think it might be this one here. It just wants to spin. You know, there's little nuts on the back of these. So I think I can get most of these, probably I think 3 of them, and then one's probably going to be an issue. I may just have to end up cutting off with the grinder or something. But yeah, let me get those knocked out real quick, and then we'll head to the front. The front's going to be a bit more involved. As you can see, there's so much more stuff in here that's just intertwined with everything, to where I have to kind of figure out. So I'm going to reuse the control arms. At least that's the plan. We'll see how bad they are when I get them sandblasted. But everything else is pretty much going to get replaced, so. All right, here we go. Okay guys, so the driver's side is pretty much done. There's a lot of pain associated with that. I got everything cleaned up to a degree so you can kind of see what we're dealing with. So this bolt here is good. The other one snapped off, like it was already rounded. So I bought one of those little, I don't know what you call it, the little tools that grab onto the bolt to back it out. As soon as I put some pressure on that, it just snapped the head off. You can see the little piece still in there. So I gotta get that out somehow. I may just weld a nut on the end of it and try and back it out that way. We'll see. But there's the broke off end right there. So this is the upper control arm. And I was gonna reuse this, but I'm on the fence now because you can see there that piece there's a little boogered up. I had to cut off the ball joint. I don't think it took off enough to really make a difference, but the rest of it just kind of looks crappy, you know. It's like it's just been hammered in over the years with just abuse, you know what I mean? It's just driving the car around, maybe not abuse, but. So I may end up replacing these two. I didn't really want to, but I think I may have to. This is the lower, same deal. I had to cut the ball joint out of this one as well. And I'm still not sure how to get this thing out. It appears to come out through the top, if you will. You can see that. I don't think it's gonna come through there. You know, that's all metal. So I think it goes out, you know, that way through the top. But I haven't had any luck kind of banging on it a little bit, so we'll see. Like I said, if I end up replacing them, I may not even worry about it, honestly. So I mean, you can see there, it's pretty rusted out. So ended up having to cut off the top of the shocks here because they weren't, same thing, I couldn't get the bolts off. It just started spinning the shaft, and then I tried to put a little, grab it and put some pressure on the top to try and spin the bolt around it, and it just was not having it. So I said screw it, I cut them off. This was down in the bottom, like holding the spring. I can't imagine it was really doing much. It just looks like a can opener. So I don't know if that was supposed to be in there or what. That's a weird one. Shims for the suspension. You can see here there's some shims on this one, just how they had it aligned. No shims on the front here for whatever reason. So that's what that is. Man, just a lot of pain. I broke a couple bolts off, even broke this one off too. This guy here goes in here with that little washer, of course. But that snapped off. I don't know if you can see the end of it still in there. So like I said, I think these are just kind of trashed. I'm gonna have to replace them anyway, so. And I don't know what the deal is. I bought one of those little tools, or not bought, but I rented one of these tools to separate the ball joint, and it just simply did not work. This guy here, you pound it in between and it just wasn't having it. So I may end up cutting these off. I may try and leave this side together, I think, just to see how it goes. I'll try and leave it together on the main bolts here, these guys. So the main, and this guy here. So those main bottom bolts that are holding that arm in, and then try and work with it that way. Maybe still take this piece off the drum. You can see I got this one off here. Honestly, it doesn't look like it's in that bad a shape. I mean, outside of a little bit of rust on this stuff here, like if you could just rebuild this thing would probably be fine. But I have no intention of using drums on the car. I'm gonna get drop spindles with the disc brakes, so I don't really have any use for that. But yeah, let me go ahead and get this last side knocked out. I'll try something a little different, and then once we get that done, we should be able to start looking at the frame here of, you know, just start sandblasting it and seeing what we got, what it really looks like. Get the steering box off here, and I got a new one of these coming as well, so I'm not worried about that either. But yeah, let me get this other side of suspension off and we'll keep it moving. Okay, so as you can see, I've got basically all the suspension removed, as you saw from the time lapse there. Same deal on the front here. I could not get the cotter pins out of these. The little ball joint connection there. Either one of them, they broke off. I couldn't pound them out, so I ended up just cutting this one off. Undid those on the bottom, and I ended up cutting the spring because I could not get my little spring compressor in there or anything to work with it. I wouldn't recommend doing it that way. It's actually quite dangerous. As I'm going to go ahead and mention again, this is not a how-to channel. This is just a how I did it channel. So please do not take what I show or say as the gospel in any stretch of the imagination or the best way to do anything. And yeah, so I've been researching some control arms. I found a few kits that they range from, you know, $350 to, you know, on up to $2,000. So I think I'm just going to pick something maybe somewhere in the middle to the lower end just to get her rolling. And as we get a little faster with the car and start getting a little more serious, we can start upgrading some stuff. But just wanted to show you pretty much the bare frame here. That's it. So now I'm ready to start sandblasting. I think I'm just going to go ahead and try and sandblast it before I start messing with that wire wheel. And that'll be the next steps. So that's pretty much going to do it for this video, guys. As always, thanks for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. And if you don't, please do. Please comment, like, subscribe. Let us know what you think. And we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks.